name is Amanda Griego, and I will be talking about early adulthood. Early adulthood can be an exciting time because it's a phase where a person tries to find his or her place in society. Usually during this time, a person's social clock tends to start ticking. People start to think about moving out of their parents' house. They think about going to college and finding a job or landing a great career. Some plan on getting married and starting a family. Early adulthood lasts from the 20s to the early 40s. And each person's experience varies, and this and the view of early adulthood even varies amongst cultures. And our textbook discusses different models. There's the Mediterranean model, where a young adult is encouraged to stay at home and attend a college nearby, and the parents will help financially until the young adult has established a career and or marriage. There's the Scandinavian model, in which a young adult is encouraged to move out of his or her parents' home. And they're encouraged to move out because once they're on their own, they're usually assisted by the government. And there's the U.S. model, where the young adult has the option of staying at home or leaving. And there's reasons why a young adult would stay at home. It's sometimes because they want to remain close to their family, or it's just because they're more comfortable staying at home. They have the luxury of no rent and home-cooked meals. And then there's others that would rather leave, and that's kind of a rough path to go down because it's not always very steady. A young adult may move out, but might have to move back in with their parents just because they don't have enough money. There was an article in USA Today last year that discussed why young adults may move back home, and it said that the number of adults ages 20 through 30 who lived with their parents jumped from 17% in 1980 to 24% in 2007 to 2009, and that's the result of the latest recession. And moving back home is it's so common now that it's even more socially accepted for young adults to live at home for longer periods of time now. They're not expected to move out right away. Next is creating an identity. Eric Erickson says that some people go through identity crisis because they don't know who or what to be. And there's 4 identity statuses. There's identity diffusion, and that occurs when the person has no clue about what he or she wants to do in life. There's identity foreclosure, which occurs when a person is trying to conform to a group because it looks appealing. A person may not know anything about said group, but joins based on appeal. There's identity moratorium, and that occurs when a person is in search of who or she wants to be. He or she may be trying out different jobs and career paths to see what feels best for them. Then there's identity achievement, and that occurs when someone knows what he or she wants to be and actually becomes whatever that is. Identity status will change throughout one's life. You don't stay at one status forever. So if you feel like you're in identity diffusion right now, you may not be in a year or so. And if a person is confident in his or her identity, it's time to start looking for a career and even possibly a partner. First, I'll discuss what it's like to find a job. And there's college versus work. Although a college background doesn't necessarily guarantee a job, it'll make job seeking much easier. Belsky says that jobs that offer good salaries and benefits often require some type of degree or certificate. And for those young adults who choose to go straight into a job without ever going to college, they have a hard time. It's most likely that a person without a college background will constantly be shifting from one job to another. And Belsky also says that a person lacking a degree is less likely to reach identity achievement. Now I'll talk about young adults looking for love. Partner choice is really important when you're trying to find a partner. Your ideal partner may be someone you spend forever with, so it's important to choose wisely. The textbook talks about interracial and homosexual romances and how people view them, but I want to focus on what actually goes on between a couple. And every couple is different, and one difference among the couples is how the people within the relationship are attached to one another. Some couples are preoccupied and ambivalent, and usually this type of relationship won't last very long. The people within the relationship are usually anxious. They're the type that fall for each other very quickly, and they fall very hard. So they're in love after the second date, and they're constantly worried, and they tend to be jealous. Some couples are avoidant and dismissive. This couple also won't last very long, and usually these people are very unavailable towards one another, and they avoid emotional intimacy. Then there are those couples that are secure. This couple is balanced and confident. The people within the relationship really trust one another and are happy together, and this type of relationship is likely to be long term. If a couple is secure enough, it is possible that they will get married. And everybody views marriage differently. There are also different models for this. There's the Middle Eastern model, where the husband is the most dominant in the relationship, and he can pretty much tell his wife whatever he wants, and she has to follow the rules. Then there's the Scandinavian model, where marriage doesn't matter at all, and so I guess you wouldn't really call it marriage, but the couples can live together and start families. Then there's the US model, where here marriage isn't necessary, and I guess it really doesn't matter because people start families together and live together. But when people do think about marriage, they usually plan on it being lifelong, which doesn't always last. Couples will then experience different stages when entering marriage, and the Encyclopedia of Adult Development talks about these different periods. There's the engagement period, which marks the commitment to getting married. Couples must prepare for their lifelong relationship together and must set roles for themselves. Then there's the honeymoon period, where the couples start to become comfortable with the status of marriage, and this is when the couples really start to get to know each other. There's also the early adjustment period, when reality kind of sets in and the couple must deal with complications that occur every day. And this is sort of a difficult time for the couple. Next, they might start planning a family together, and this tends to be very hard for couples. It can put a strain on the relationship. People say that it can ruin a relationship, and some say that it actually enhances the relationship. Usually, though, most people tend to adapt, and um, you know, they get used to the idea that there's sort of new people in the relationship. And that's it for my presentation. I hope you guys liked it.